Hi, I'm Station. This is Wayne.
And this is our Cruise Cabana.
Come on in, pull up a hammock. Today we're going to give you our honest review of the Havana Cabana suite and the Havana exclusive area aboard the Carnival Celebration, which is Carnival's newest class of ship, the Excel class.
Yeah, and they market it as private and exclusive, but was the Havana Experience really worth the upgrade?
We are going to tell you what wowed us, what didn't quite deliver, and whether or not we're going to be sailing again in the Havana Cabana area, or if we just go back to a traditional balcony.
If you've tuned in to learn about a specific aspect of the Havana Experience, take a look down below in the time codes and skip ahead to the part of the video that interests you most. You and I have done a lot of Carnival cruising over the years. This isn't our first Carnival rodeo. We've been cruising them since 2003. We're not coming at this blind.
The other thing is that, we had, Wayne really loved Carnival. I was like, a day at sea is a day at sea for me. I don't really care where I am. But we had tried the suite experience on Norwegian, the Haven, the Retreat on Celebrity, and the Yacht Club on MSC. So we wanted to come back and give Carnival a chance with that ship within a ship concept. I think that we need to start our review today talking about the Havana Cabana balcony room. What do you think, Wayne?
Well, it's an exciting room, and it's different, it's novel. There are so many things we loved about it. As soon as we learned about this weird, unusual product where you get to socialize with your neighbors on your back patio, which has a garden gate, you're like, sign me up. So we were intrigued. As far as the room itself, I have many thoughts on it. I'm not sure where to begin, but maybe we should just all go there together. Havana Cabin 8265. Starboard side, Carnival Celebration, deck 8, forward. This is us in our natural habitat.
Sorry if the room was a little bit messy. This is a truly honest review after staying in the cabin for 7 days.
One thing that was shocking to notice was the very diminutive size of this stateroom. On a new ship, a brand new ship, this is the inaugural cruise, more or less. My wife and I don't take up a ton of space, but one thing that's kind of amusing is, we'll be getting ready, and of course my wife is in here getting access to her wardrobe, and one thing I find is, you're kind of incarcerated at times in this, awkwardness of these doors, are kind of colliding with one another. It is very cramped, and even for the two of us, it's just wow. That's what you get space-wise. And I did mention, this is the inaugural cruise, and already things are getting scuffed, because there's just no room to maneuver in this cabin. So curious to see, we're going to try to book a cruise on the horizon to notice the difference. Now, on the plus side, you get this very spacious balcony, which we've spent a lot of time on. And far more time than we would normally spend on a balcony. So that's really what you're buying, but it really does come, I would say, at the considerable cost of space. There is not a lot of space. The other thing I noticed that I really don't like about this cabin, there aren't any end tables. They just give you these little sort of architectural floating shelves. I'm not wild about that. Really not wild about that. Huge TV. I would say the TVs are probably too big, and whatever. I do like this lighted mural. The art is really cool. The color palette is, spot on. Don't love that you don't get a refrigerator. It's just a cooler. It's, it doesn't get cold, but I guess that's kind of standard these days. Not a whole lot of storage. I packed light this time out, and I'd say it's a good thing that I did. Probably enough hanging space. could use some more drawer space and more shelf space. Drawers and shelves, I would say, are wanting in this stateroom. Again, plenty of hanging space, but could probably use some more shelves. The bathroom, you know, pretty typical. You know, I have no complaints about the bathroom, really. I mean, again, kind of small, but probably wouldn't notice that about it if it weren't for the fact that this stateroom just feels really tiny. It is a little bit noisy as well. We're on deck 8, and we do hear, I guess there's a theater below us, so you kind of hear that thump all night. Not all night, but, you know, late into the night. So, you know, 11 midnight, it's still thumping. It's a fun ship, so, you know, it doesn't really bother me, but just something to be aware of. One thing I would say is I would suggest you do not book a room down towards the bar end of the ship, you know, i.e. in this area, because there is a gate here that with access to the pool, and that door slams all night long, all day long, and it's very loud. And speaking of gate slamming, the access on and off of the promenade from the balcony, you know, is achieved through these little swinging gates, which are a little difficult to operate, and they do jam. Ours jams a lot, and then you've got to kind of slam it to get it closed at times. Kind of loud. The latch is a little difficult to operate, and at one point there were screws actually falling out of it, as you can see. So yeah, I don't know. The good sturdy country craftsmanship, I don't know. I kind of feel like I wonder about the sturdiness of this vessel. Honestly, I just have this suspicion. Actually, went to wash my hands in the dining room, and the handle actually came off of the faucet.
I think the balcony, the cabana area of the suite was our favorite spot. And that actually led out to the exclusive area of the Havana Promenade.
Yeah, and the cabin was a bit of a mixed bag for us. On the one hand, it felt cramped, it was a little awkward, it lacked for storage. On the flip side, the decor was actually really interesting, it was inviting, and it was a cozy cabin.
Yeah. We did like the cabana area because it was not only social, but it opened right on to the exclusive area of the Havana area, not just the suite.
Yeah, a perfect cabin for a romantic getaway for two.
So the ship within a ship concept on Carnival, you have your band that will hopefully open the door for you. Some of them were not locked down. And so it didn't feel totally exclusive. When you walked out in the promenade, that was a wonderful private area where you could lounge in the loungers or be able to get from port to starboard pretty quickly within the confines of the Havana area. And then the pool, which was a postage stamp, was it was actually pretty nice. It was sort of a big cold hot tub with one of the infinity glass walls.
The Havana area as a whole was great. I really liked it. The styling was interesting. It was fun. It was inviting. It was cozy, much like the cabin. But much like the cabin, it also felt cramped, and the spaces were awkward, and it was overfurnished, and didn't love it.
Yeah, the ship within a ship area was nice, but it was just too tight, and I don't know truly how exclusive it really was. All it was like a band that you put around your arm, and anybody could come and go. In fact, I saw some people come through with their drinks and sat down in our area, and they did not have a cabin within the area.
Yeah, you're touching on a couple different things here, and one of which I want to take it back to the awkwardness of the design plan. And I particularly noticed this in the bar area outside. It was very cramped. It was a really nice bar, but they didn't give you much room to maneuver, and they had sun loungers, and you're crammed right up against railings. And I think that really hurt the bar and prevented it from being the buzzing social atmosphere that it otherwise could have been. And I'd say the same goes for the soft seating, the lounges they had off in the shade. Comfortable, but just too big and too many of them.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the outside area along the promenade from starboard to port where you could walk around, you know, without interruption. I loved that. But the actual lounging area by that bar, if they just removed a few of those lounge chairs and had a social area where you could mingle, that would help. And the one thing that was really frustrating is the bar on the outside it backed up to the bar on the inside, which was the coffee bar, Cuban coffee, yay. But what time did they open?
Well, they didn't.
9 a.m.
Yeah, 9 a.m., which, you know.
9 a.m.
And oftentimes they only ever had one bartender working both the indoor and the outdoor bar. So many times I would go to that outdoor bar, there wouldn't be anybody there, as you'll see in the video, to get a drink. Yeah. Guys, that's 2 bars. It's not 1 bar. Carnival, put 2 people in that bar. And guess what? You're going to need a 3rd person as your back to run ice and get things that are needed. Like, that's the proper way to run a bar. And we say that having come from the service industry, and we've both been behind the bar. Let us know in the comments what your favorite tropical drink is and what drink you first order when you get on board ship. We would like to know. What is it for you?
It's not tropical.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? I'm assuming way too much, because maybe it's just a nice, humble, ice-cold beer. Nothing wrong with that.
I like the bubbles.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess for me, it would have to be like 2 fingers of like a really nice sipping rum.
I did like being able to get away from the mad rush of the main part of, you know, the celebration and being able to sneak in and have the lounge area, but it didn't quite live up to what I had expected because it just felt so tight. And because it was so small, we had found out there's a whole group out there that follow the Havana Cabana from the Vista days, the original inception of the Havana area. And the groupies of the Havana area on the Vista and the Horizon, they talked about how it was much bigger. It's on the back of the ship. The bar has got a social aspect to it. It's just a lot more open and airy. So we started looking around to figure out if maybe we wanted to follow the loyal Havana cruisers and see if that ship within a ship was better actually on the older ship.
Mm-hmm. You know, and the other thing I'm thinking of here too, to go back to your coffee comment earlier, I'm craving coffee now.
Mm-hmm.
And it was good coffee when you could get it, but again, they didn't open until 9, and even then it was kind of like a soft open. They weren't really ready. They were there, but you know, and they were kind of slow, taking their time. Didn't love that. And we get up before 9, and if you're like us, you want coffee, you know, especially when we're on vacation, you miraculously wake up early, you're excited about the vacation, and the first thing you want is a nice hot cup of coffee. Well, guess what? You're going to have to walk pretty far to get it down to Java Blue. I think you actually have to go down a couple of decks, right?
Down a deck, yeah.
Down a deck. You're going to have to walk, traipse through, chances are, a trivia contest. Yes. And guess what? You're suddenly the star of this trivia contest because
more than once.
The way the stage faces in the audience, like you turn a corner and it's like walking out on stage, you know, in your PJs. And then you've got to walk back to the cabin with 2 coffees and push buttons, and it's not fun. And that really aggravates me because we're supposedly paying for a private, exclusive ship-within-a-ship experience. That's not what that is. That's not what you're delivering. But and how hard is it to put some coffee out for people in the morning, fill up some of those big thermoses, put some cups out? That's not hard.
You couldn't even get the Cuban coffee delivered to your room within the Havana area. That's not ship within a ship, really.
Sorry, guys. I get passionate about coffee.
Not a very expensive thing to do is just have a continental breakfast in there for us, or
Cheerios,
you know, something, because
at least let us know that you're thinking about us in the morning. No, that's not cool. And you know, the other thing that really aggravated me is, let's talk about something that's not directly related, but Alchemy Bar. I love Alchemy Bar, and it's not part of the Havana experience. It's just kind of out there, and we love it, and it's a great bar. We had a great experience there on our previous Carnival cruise, so we were really, and Pride it was, right? And that was really exciting. The bartenders were engaging. It was outside a dining room in that case, which I think may explain some of my gripe on this, because it kind of creates a different bar atmosphere. It's the place where people congregate right before dinner or right after to have their, their nightcap or their first evening cocktail. And that kind of creates a certain kind of effervescence that was lacking on this ship in particular. And I think it was right outside of a comedy lounge. And so it wound up being more of like a working bar, a bar that people just wanted a quick beer on before they went and sat down. So poor planning on Carnival's part in terms of location and where to place this bar, was really aggravating. But that said, it had service problems of its own. I won't get into that. But one of the nice things about it is they put out these really nice mixed nuts like macadamia and almonds, like fancy nuts, not just peanuts and and that was nice. And I was like, wow, this is really great. And then I thought about it and I was like, wait a second, I'm paying for an exclusive experience back in Havana. Like, why isn't it at least this nice? Like, why isn't the service at least this good? Why aren't the snacks at least this good? Like, right?
They could have had like plantain chips or something available in the Havana area, but
Spicy
there was nothing.
plantain chips,
right?
Nothing.
So they
cayenne
had a great coffee bar. It wasn't available really when you wanted it to be, except for late at night. We did share the interior section of the Havana area with the public. That's not exclusive, and it was a lively crowd. They were able to have music piped in, and they had some great salsa dancing, some trivia in there.
If you feel like you're learning some valuable tips about the Havana experience, give us a like, a subscribe, give us a comment.
Now would be a perfect time for you to like, share, and subscribe.
The other thing I wanted to mention about this lounge area, I really like the seating. It's plush, the color palette's great, the decor, the art, everything's wonderful. It's right on point. The music is wonderful. It's great. It's usually salsa Latin music, like every evening, which is great. It creates a wonderful, there's some wonderful dancers in there, and it's great to watch the talent, on display there. Fun place. My one recommendation for Carnival would be to get rid of that PA equipment. You don't need it in that room. The bongos by themselves are loud enough. The guitar by itself is loud enough. The vocals are loud enough. The ceilings in there are very low. Sound travels, it carries, and honestly, I didn't want to hang out in there because it was too loud. It was blaringly loud. As much as I wanted to hang out and enjoy the atmosphere, I couldn't, because it was just, I couldn't withstand the decibel level. And the other thing about that lounge that I liked were those little domino tables. So we would walk in through there, different times of the day. We'd see all different generations of family playing dominoes, sharing certain Latin traditions. Like, that was really cool.
And actually, that's open to any of you that are on the Celebration, the Jubilee, the Mardi Gras, any of the Excel class ships. You can go there during the day to do board games or play dominoes. So it is open to you, even if you're not part of the Havana area. But that's also part of why we weren't wild about the exclusivity of the ship within a ship on Carnival.
It's not truly exclusive, guys. I want to talk for a minute about these wristbands, these silicone wristbands that they hand out that are supposedly the thing that prevents people from coming and going.
They give you a different color one for different cruises. And John Hild, the Carnival spokesman on Facebook, he literally just posted don't go and buy the different colored wristbands, because we will find out when you are on board if you tried to enter with a fraudulent one. And I'm like, you just told everybody what to do. You can buy multicolored packets for the Havana, for the bracelets, and you can come in, which I know happened on our cruise.
More importantly, what it reveals is the poor planning, the poor concept. The whole concept is flawed, right? And they can't enforce it. There's literally like just a printed placard on the door on your way in that says, "Don't come in here if you're not in the Havana," which is kind of, to me, the equivalent of like a birds keep off grass sign. Like, that
right?
is not effective at all.
Yeah.
And there were times when, we saw people enjoying the lounge and didn't have wristbands, and they clearly weren't supposed to be there. And maybe there was once where we saw a pool attendant, a deckhand, question somebody about it. But for the most part, they really weren't paying attention to it. And to be honest, there's really nothing there special to take advantage of anyway, which is kind of doubly frustrating.
Well, it's also like price-wise, even though I knew that this was a less expensive, less luxurious concept, but if you price it up and if you add this cabana suite, and then you put on a specialty restaurant, all-inclusive package, and then you buy the deluxe drink package with your alcohol, you're about at the same cost as some of those other cruise lines. So the ship within a ship concept, they need to really up their game a little bit if they want to keep us as clients.
There's no restaurant. Not only is there not a restaurant, there's not really snacks or hors d'oeuvres or coffee in the morning or extras or things that you would normally equate, with an exclusive experience. Just totally lacking. There is a bar, but the service is so poor that it's almost like there isn't a bar there at times. The best thing that I think we can say about it is the balcony, is the patio. That really is nice. And, as cramped as the room was, it actually was cozy, and, it was inviting, and it was fun, and it was different, and we did enjoy it.
We're like, oh, well, maybe that old style opened social area, it's a much different designed area. Maybe that's more of our liking. So we decided to give it a try, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was sort of like, let's go back to the source, let's go back to the original. And we looked at some photos of the deck and the layout, and it did look a little bit more spacious, a little bit more thoughtful. And we decided, you know what, let's give this a try, because enough people were talking about it as being a superior version of it that we decided, you know what, let's try it.
So I hope you like and subscribe, because we're going to come back in with our honest review of the Havana Cabana area shortly.
So I don't know. I feel like we sort of land in the middle of the board on this. Splurge or skip? What say the jury?
I think if you find a price that you're comfortable with, I would definitely splurge on the cabana patio area over a traditional balcony, even with the things that we weren't quite happy with within the whole area. I did like the cabin, and I loved the patio. I think that we spent more time on that patio than any other cruise.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess my answer would have to be that it probably depends on what type of cruiser you are, and hopefully you've maybe gained some insight that'll help you answer this question for yourself. Like, what do you value? Is a bar atmosphere really important? Is superior service the thing? Is coffee in the morning important to you? The size of the cabin, the comfort of the cabin, is that important to you? And I guess those things kind of add up, right? As you're looking at that price and you start comparing it with similar products on the market, and you're like,
Like, share, and subscribe, guys.
I didn't come away with it with the best feeling, honestly, in terms of value.
So you give it thumbs down?
I wouldn't do it. I don't think it's worth it. I don't see the point. I mean, the cabin is nice. Really what you're paying for is a back garden gate that sometimes doesn't always work.
So why'd you let me book the next one?
I had high hopes. High apple pie in the sky hopes.
Pie party. How is it?
It's very sour.
Yeah, I put a little bit. Maybe I used too much of the lemon. Pie party. Pretty good though.
That maybe the next time around it would be great. I mean, I was willing to give it another shot. So, I mean, that kind of says something for it. I wanted to try a little harder to like it. And maybe I will like it a little better on the next one. Tune in to find out.
In my research, I saw a whole lot of YouTube videos and cruise critic posts and Facebook posts about the Havana fan club. So I know you're out there, and there's a whole group of cruisers that started with the Vista class. And
where are you? We're trying to find you.
I know.
Let us know in the comments if you're one of them.
yes, you were the ones that gave us hope that the new celebration style of Havana area was just too crammed because it was a new ship. So we decided to go on your recommendation to try the more social and a little bit larger area on the Vista class on the actual horizon.
A sweet experience should leave you at the dock saying, how was your trip? Sweet. Like, that's what it means, right? And I don't know if I'm there. Our next exciting review will be of this same sweet product, but on a different ship. So before you make your decision of whether or not to book this product, stick around for that review. We'll have that out in a week or so. Thanks for joining us in the Cruise Cabana. It is banana daiquiri time
Mm-hmm.
where we are. Not sure about you, but that's where we're at.
I'm gonna get a tall one.
Do you like this channel? If you like it, you should like it.